You ever had that gut feeling something's off, but you couldn't explain why? She still says the right words, still plays the part, but something in your chest tells you she's not really there anymore. That's not paranoia. That's your instincts picking up what your eyes can't. The danger is, if you ignore it, you end up staying in a relationship where you're the last to know you've been replaced. And no man deserves that. What you need is clarity, the ability to see the truth before it blindsides you. That's exactly what I'm about to give you. Stick with me as I reveal 6 hidden signs your woman is seeing someone else. The kind of signals you won't find in the obvious playbook. Now, before I walk you through the signs, let's do something quick. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and answer me in the comments with a simple yes or no. Have you ever felt that gut warning in a relationship? This matters because what I'm about to share isn't theory. It's the kind of reality check that separates men who wake up early from men who stay stuck until the end. Let's get into the first sign. Number 1, her affection feels scripted. Let's be real, men. You can feel it when something's off, even if you can't put it into words right away. In the beginning, her affection was alive. She reached for your hand without thinking. She kissed you like she meant it. She looked at you with a spark that made you feel like the only man in the room. That's what real connection feels like. But when that spark starts to die, you'll notice her affection becomes mechanical, like she's running through a checklist. A quick hug before bed, a half-hearted kiss, a flat, "I love you." That sounds more like a reminder on her phone than a message from her heart. On the surface, nothing looks wrong. She's still doing the motions, and most men tell themselves, she's just tired, she's just stressed. But deep down, you can feel the difference. Let me give you an example. Tom, 52, runs a small auto shop. He's been married for over 20 years. For a long time, his wife's warmth was his anchor. Spontaneous touches, playful comments, even remembering the smallest things about his day. But lately, something changed. She still tells him she cares, but her words sound rehearsed. Her kisses are brief, like a formality. Tom described it best. "It feels like I'm living with a woman who's performing a role, not my wife." And that's exactly how it shows up. Affection without soul. Why does this matter? Because genuine affection isn't about the action itself. It's about the energy behind it. When a woman is truly invested in you, her affection is spontaneous. It makes you feel seen. When that spontaneity disappears, it usually means her emotional energy is going somewhere else. Maybe she's distracted. Maybe she's channeling that energy toward another connection. Either way, she's no longer fully with you. Here's the trap most men fall into: denial. They cling to the checklist. She still says "I love you," so it must be fine. But those words are empty without emotion behind them. What you need to do is trust your instincts. If it feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore that gut signal. So, what can you actually do about it? Start observing patterns, not isolated moments. Take mental notes. How often does she show affection without you prompting? Does she reach out to you, or do you always initiate? Does her tone feel warm or flat? This isn't about confronting her in anger. It's about collecting enough evidence for yourself to see the bigger picture. If you only catch one half-hearted kiss, fine. But if you see a consistent pattern over weeks, that's when you know this isn't just a bad day. It's a shift. And here's a small step you can take. Test the spontaneity. Step back a little. Don't initiate every hug, every kiss. See what happens when the ball is in her court. If she steps toward you naturally, maybe she's just distracted. But if she doesn't move at all, you've got your answer. Her affection isn't missing by accident. It's missing because her heart is somewhere else. I know that hurts to hear, but it's better than lying to yourself while she drifts further away. Remember, you deserve authentic connection, not scripted performance. And here's the kicker. When affection starts feeling like a duty instead of desire, it usually spills into the next area of her life. Because if her heart isn't in it with you, her time won't be either. That's why the next hidden sign is so dangerous. Her schedule suddenly becomes unpredictable. Number 2. Her schedule suddenly becomes unpredictable. Think back to when things were good. She used to be consistent. You knew when she was available, and she made time for you because you mattered. A woman who's invested in you doesn't just find time, she makes time. That consistency is one of the clearest reflections of emotional commitment. But here's what happens when something shifts. Suddenly, her calendar becomes a mystery. One week, she's free every Friday night. The next week, she's too busy without any clear reason. She cancels plans at the last minute but pops up available on Sunday afternoon. For just a short coffee, nothing more. It feels random. It feels inconsistent. And inconsistency in relationships almost always means divided attention. Men often make excuses for this. Work is stressful. She's just tired. And sure, life can get busy. But let's be honest. When someone values you, even chaos has structure. She'll let you know her schedule. She'll keep you in the loop. When she doesn't, that's not about work. That's about priorities. Here's what you need to recognize. Unpredictability isn't just bad luck, it's strategy. By keeping her plans loose, she leaves room for other options. She hedges her bets. She knows you'll wait because you care. Meanwhile, she's preserving flexibility for someone else. That's why it feels like you're always waiting on her, because you are. So what's the solution? Again, look for patterns, not excuses. If her availability is consistently last minute, if she's always unsure when you ask about the week ahead, that's a red flag. A woman who truly wants to be with you will lock things in, even in a busy life. And here's a simple test. Instead of waiting on her, set your own plans. If she says she's unsure, tell her you'll be busy and stick to it. Watch how she reacts. If she respects your time, she'll adjust and make space for you. If she shrugs it off and keeps things vague, you've just learned where you really stand on her priority list. Remember, time is the one resource you can't get back. If she's constantly unpredictable, she's telling you, without words, that you're not her main investment. And here's the truth. When her time with you fades, you'll often see her attention reappear somewhere else, loud and clear. These days, the first place it shows isn't in real life, it's online. Because when she stops giving you time in person, she starts curating an image for someone else on social media. Number 3, changes in her social media behavior. In today's world, social media is more than just pictures and posts. It's a stage, and every post is a performance. When a woman is with you and truly invested, that stage often reflects the relationship. Photos together, little acknowledgements, or at least a sense that she's proud of being with you. But when something shifts, her feed shifts too. Suddenly, those couple photos vanish. It's all selfies, group shots, or carefully worded captions about finding herself or living her best life. On the surface, it looks harmless, but beneath the surface, it's often a signal, a way of saying, I'm available, without ever having to use those words. Let me paint you a picture. Marcus, 47, works long night shifts as a nurse. For years, his girlfriend would tag him in posts, share photos of their weekend getaways, or at least drop a little heart emoji under his updates. But recently, Marcus noticed something different. Her feed filled with solo pictures, new outfits, nights out with friends, captions like new chapter and just me. What stung the most was the timing. Late nights, weekends, moments when she used to be with him. She wasn't just posting for fun. She was creating an image that didn't include Marcus. And deep down, he knew who that image was really for. Why does this matter? Because social media isn't random, it's deliberate. A sudden change in her online presence often reflects a change in her emotional life. When she stops showing you and starts showing the world a version of herself that screams independence, she's not just rebranding for self-love. She's sending signals, intentionally or not, to someone else. Now here's the trap you need to avoid. Turning into a detective. Scrolling through every post, analyzing likes, checking comments. That road only breeds paranoia. Instead, step back and observe the trend. Ask yourself, did she used to show pride in being with you? Has that pride disappeared? Is her feed projecting freedom and availability instead of connection? Here's a practical move. Track the tone, not the details. Look at the overall vibe of her content. If it went from us to me, that's not coincidence. If her posts spike during times she used to be with you, that's not random. If her captions sound like cryptic diary entries, those aren't for her. They're for an audience. And if you're not part of that audience, someone else probably is. And here's another key point. The shift doesn't just affect you. It affects how others see her and how she wants to be seen. Social media becomes the playground for hidden attraction, where subtle messages are exchanged without a word. So what should you do? Don't confront her with screenshots. Don't interrogate. Instead, use it as data. Data about where her attention is going, about whether she still sees you as part of her life or whether she's building a solo image to attract new eyes. Because here's the truth, when her online presence stops reflecting you, it's not just a social change, it's an emotional one. And once her digital life starts excluding you, her physical behavior usually follows. That's why the next sign is so telling. Watch what happens when her phone becomes a locked vault right in front of you. Number 4, secrecy with her phone. Let's make one thing clear. Privacy and secrecy are not the same. Everyone deserves privacy. A little space, a locked phone, a password, that's normal. But secrecy? That's when the energy shifts. That's when the phone becomes less of a tool and more of a fortress. Here's how it shows up. You're sitting together, her phone buzzes, and instead of checking it casually, she flips it face down like it's classified information. Or maybe she suddenly stops texting when you're around, but gets glued to her screen the moment you walk out the door. The problem isn't the phone, it's the way she treats it in front of you. Let me bring this down to earth. Daniel, 55, drives long-haul trucks. For years, his wife would leave her phone on the counter, unlocked, sometimes even ask him to check directions or answer a call for her. No tension, no big deal. But over time, Daniel noticed a change. Now, whenever a message popped up, she'd snatch the phone, flip it over, or leave the room entirely. One night, he casually reached for her phone to check the time, something he'd done 100 times before, and she froze, eyes sharp, hand pulling it away like he'd crossed a line. That reaction told him more than any text message ever could. Why is this important? Because behavior speaks louder than words. A woman who has nothing to hide won't flinch when her phone buzzes. She won't suddenly guard it like it contains state secrets. When she does, it's because there's a part of her life she doesn't want you to see. And let's be honest, that hidden life is often where her emotional energy is flowing. Now, here's the mistake men make. They grab for the phone, demand to see messages, turn into detectives. And sure, you might find something, but even if you do, you've already lost. Because the problem isn't just the phone, it's the secrecy itself. If she's living a double life through that screen, the damage is already done. So what can you actually do? Step back and study the pattern. Does she guard the phone only when you're around? Does she take it everywhere, even to the bathroom when she never used to? Does her energy shift the moment it rings or buzzes? These patterns tell you more than any text you'll ever read. Here's a small test. Create a harmless opportunity. Ask her to look something up for you on her phone. Watch her reaction. If she's relaxed, fine. But if she tenses up, hesitates, or tries to take control of the screen, that's a sign. Her reaction isn't about the search. It's about what she doesn't want you to stumble across. I know it's painful to acknowledge, but ignoring secrecy doesn't protect you. It just delays the moment of truth. You deserve transparency. You deserve someone who's not afraid to let you glimpse into the life they claim to share with you. And here's the deeper layer. When she locks down her phone, she's also locking down her emotional openness with you. The barrier isn't just digital, it's personal. And the next sign makes this even clearer, because once she starts guarding her phone, you'll notice something else. Her curiosity about your life starts to disappear. Number 5. She's no longer curious about your life. A woman who truly cares about you doesn't just love who you are. She invests in what makes you, you. She wants to know how your day went, who you spent time with, what your dreams look like. That curiosity isn't small talk. It's emotional investment. When she asks those questions, she's telling you, you matter to me. I want to understand you. But when that curiosity fades, the silence is deafening. Suddenly, she doesn't ask about your work anymore. You mention a big project, and all you get back is a flat, "That's nice." You talk about a challenge you're facing, and instead of engaging, she changes the subject. Conversations that once felt alive now feel like one-sided updates. Why does this happen? Because curiosity takes energy. And when her energy is directed towards someone else, emotionally or otherwise, she has less to give you. She's not hungry to know you anymore because she's feeding that hunger elsewhere. It's not that she doesn't hear you. It's that she doesn't care to go deeper. This is where many men get confused. They think, maybe she's just stressed, maybe she's tired. And sometimes, yes, that's true. But here's the difference. Stress or fatigue makes someone quiet for a night. Emotional disinvestment makes them quiet for weeks. When she consistently shows no desire to know your world, that's not burnout. It's distance. So how do you spot the difference? Pay attention to the follow-up. When you share something important, does she ask a second question, or does she just nod and move on? Curiosity lives in the follow-up. If it's gone, the emotional spark is gone too. Here's a small step you can take. Share something intentionally vague like, "I had an interesting conversation today." If she leans in and asks more, there's still interest. If she brushes past it, she's checked out. That one interaction tells you volumes about where her attention really is. Remember, a relationship without curiosity is a relationship running on autopilot. And autopilot only flies in one direction, down. But it doesn't stop there, because once curiosity fades about your present, the next thing to disappear is even heavier, her willingness to imagine a future with you. Number 6. She becomes vague about future plans. One of the clearest signs of true commitment is excitement about the future. Whether it's as small as planning next weekend's dinner, or as big as talking about vacations or retirement. When a woman is emotionally invested, she leans into the future with you. She's eager to picture it because she sees herself in it. But when she starts pulling back, the shift is obvious. Suddenly, every conversation about the future gets met with hesitation. You bring up a trip you've talked about for years, and she says, "Let's see." You mention dinner with friends next month, and she shrugs, "I don't know if I'll be free." Instead of building, she stalls. Instead of leaning in, she leaves the door cracked open, just enough to keep her options alive. Here's the psychology behind it. Vague answers are a shield. They buy her time while she figures out where her real energy belongs. If she's seeing someone else or even just considering it, she won't tie herself to you long term. Commitment, even in small doses, would trap her. So she dodges. The danger here is subtle but brutal. You end up living in limbo. You're always waiting for confirmation, always hoping she'll say yes, while she keeps you dangling. And the longer you stay in that limbo, the more control you give away. So what can you do? Stop accepting vagueness as an answer. When she says, "We'll see," don't just nod. Ask, "What do you mean by that?" Or, "Are you still interested in making plans with me?" Her response, or her refusal to give one, tells you everything you need to know. Here's a practical test. Propose something simple but specific, like dinner next weekend. If she truly wants to be with you, she'll commit. If she dodges, hesitates, or stays vague, that's not scheduling. It's signaling. She's showing you she doesn't want to picture a future with you, even in the short term. It's not easy to face, but it's necessary. Because the longer you tolerate uncertainty, the longer you live as her backup plan. And that brings us full circle. When all 6 signs stack up, the question isn't whether she's drifting. It's whether you're ready to see the truth and decide what you'll do about it. So let's bring it all together. 6 hidden signs. 6 shifts that don't happen by accident. Her affection feels scripted. Her schedule turns unpredictable. Her social media starts painting a different picture. Her phone becomes a locked vault. Her curiosity about your life fades. And finally, she dodges the future you once planned together. None of these on their own prove betrayal. But stacked together, they form a story. And in that story, you're no longer the leading man. You're the understudy, waiting in the wings while her energy plays somewhere else. That's a hard truth, but facing it is better than wasting months or years pretending not to see it. Here's what I need you to remember. Your job isn't to chase, snoop, or play detective. That only drains you and feeds her control. Your job is to observe the patterns, respect what they're telling you, and make decisions that protect your peace. You can't force authentic connection. You can only demand it by holding your standard high. One last thing. Don't turn these signs into paranoia. Sometimes the reason isn't betrayal at all. It's burnout, stress, or struggles she hasn't shared. That's why your first move should be an honest conversation. But if the signs stack up and the conversations lead nowhere, then it's time to face the truth and reclaim your power. And let me be blunt. You are not meant to be someone's backup plan. You are not meant to be tolerated, strung along, or kept in reserve. You are meant to be chosen fully, openly, without hesitation. If she can't give you that, she doesn't deserve the seat at your table. This isn't about paranoia. It's about self-respect. It's about refusing to live in denial. Because the moment you see these signs clearly, you get your power back. You stop begging for crumbs and start expecting the meal you deserve. So if this video opened your eyes, if it helped you connect the dots, do me a favor, hit that like button so I know it hit home. Subscribe to this channel because I promise you, this is just the beginning. And leave a comment below. Tell me which of these signs resonated most with you. Together, we're building a community of men who don't get blindsided, who don't settle for less, and who don't hand over their power in silence. Stay sharp, stay awake, and never forget, you deserve more than being her plan B.